so many generations knew her as the Queen, but to her younger family members, she was simply, most importantly, a grandmother and a great-grandmother. Here they are, in their own words, with how they will remember her. She was one of the most famous women in the world, a head of state, known for her sense of duty and dedication to her country. But to a select few, she was also grandmother.
For someone like me, growing up sort of with the Queen as my grandmother, you look back at history and go, you know, has she really done this? Is this really happening? I think the significance comes in the future when you look back and go, this was her reign and this is what happened and how impressive is it?
We look up to her like any granddaughter would to their grandmother, with a little bit of added something. And you know, we're very lucky that not only do we get to think about her as an incredible queen and an incredible leader, but also as an incredible grandmother.
Queen Elizabeth had 8 grandchildren who all revered her in different ways. What advice has she ever given you that's really helped?
She very much leaves us to ourselves. I think if you put a foot wrong, she'll guide you back on. Someone in her position, I don't think she needs to verbally say anything. You just see how she carries out her business and her working role, and I think that's good enough for anybody to follow.
Yeah, it makes me think of my father, who was a colonel in the Air Force. All he had to do was clear his throat. He didn't have to say, and there's certain people like your grandmother who actually, they command your respect. They don't demand it, but they command it just by their mere presence and by how they live.
Naturally, even more so because of my time in the service, the utmost of respect that I have, not just as a grandmother. You know, she was my boss for 10 years, and I viewed her very much like that.
Also known as Gan, at least by Prince George, the future King of England, and one of her 12 great-grandchildren. The younger generations brought out her softer, funnier side.
Hey, Prince Harry, remember when you told us to bring it at the Invictus Games?
Careful what you wish for. Boom.
Like when she took part in promoting Prince Harry's Invictus Games, while one-upping the Obamas' hilarious mic drop.
Oh, really? Please.
Boom.
How did you approach your grandmother?
Mrs. Obama came to us with the challenge, and I didn't know what to do. She dragged her husband into it, happened to be the president, slightly
dragged
awkward.
him into it. And he said, well, if you can get your grandmother to do this, then you can drop the mic.
I showed her the video and I told her, she was like, right, what do we need to do? Let's do this. Do you know what I mean? So.
And you can see, because she delivered, she's got great timing.
Yeah.
No one quite like her. Her legacy living on through her family, particularly this generation.
Her determination, her duty, but also her sense of fun and her love of life. I think that's some things that I'd really like to take with me going forward. She's taught me to always be true to yourself and to stand up and be strong and everything.
Her queenship set a template for the future King William.
She set an incredible example to me, to others to follow. Her leadership, her duty, her sacrifice, all these things, you know, her selflessness, her love of country, I think they really, really shine through.
It was quite evident how much she enjoyed being a grandmother and a great grandmother. Michael?
Yes, it was, Robin. Thank you for that. And let's bring back ABC News royal contributor Victoria Murphy. And Victoria, we saw in that piece, the Queen leaves behind 8 grandchildren. We just heard how each one of them had their own special relationship with her. So what does that say about her, the grandmother?
Such incredible tributes, you're absolutely right. And I think the really important thing to say here is that within the monarchy, there is a hierarchical system. There is a strict system. People have their places in the pecking order. But within the family, that did not exist. The Queen had an equally special relationship with all of her grandchildren, and that's really reflected in those tributes that we've just heard. I think she was thrilled that a lot of them had taken on her interests, particularly horse riding. We saw Zara Phillips become a champion equestrian, Lady Louise, who the Queen watched carriage riding just a few months ago. And again, I think really that sense of fun, that she was really able to enjoy her grandchildren and they enjoyed her.
And now that Charles is King Charles III, Prince William, he is next in line to the throne, and he talked about his relationship with his grandmother in that piece. In the last few years, how do you think Queen Elizabeth was preparing her grandson William for his role?
Well, I think she's been preparing him for a long time, and it was actually here at Windsor Castle when he was a student at Eton College nearby that he would come and see her here and sit and have tea with her. And I think then perhaps when they had an opportunity to talk about one day the role that he would take on one day, he was incredibly fond of his grandmother. He had such a huge respect for her, and I think we will see a really heartfelt tribute coming from him in the coming days. And he, I think, will, when he becomes king, really look to her example and model a lot of the ways he does things on the way that she did them.
Victoria Murphy, thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.